The beauty of God's plan is not that it makes sense right away. If it did, most of us wouldn't need faith. We just need a calendar and a checklist. But real life doesn't move that cleanly. You plan, you try, you wait, and then things unfold in ways you didn't ask for. And somewhere in that gap between expectation and reality, you start wondering whether there is a plan at all, or if you're just making meaning after the fact. You had ideas for how your life would go, timelines in your head, quiet assumptions you never said out loud but fully believed. By this age, this would be settled. By now, this would make sense. You did what you thought was right, made the choices that seemed wise at the time, and still ended up in places you never imagined yourself standing. Not all of them bad, just unfamiliar, unplanned, and sometimes disappointing. What makes this hard is that God's plan rarely shows up as a straight line. It looks more like detours, pauses, closed doors, and long stretches where nothing seems to be happening. From the inside, it feels like delay. From the outside, it looks like stagnation. And you start questioning yourself. Did I miss something? Did I choose wrong? Did God change his mind? Scripture is full of people who felt that same confusion. Joseph had dreams that pointed one way, then found himself in a pit, in a prison, forgotten for years. None of that looked like a divine plan while he was living it. It looked like betrayal, loss, wasted time. But later, when he looked back, he didn't see randomness. He saw a story that only made sense in reverse. That's often how God works. His plan doesn't reveal itself while you're inside the hardest parts. It becomes visible later, when you can trace the quiet connections between moments you thought were meaningless. The relationship that ended taught you something you needed to survive the next one. The job you lost forced you to grow skills you rely on now. The season that felt empty was actually shaping your endurance, your discernment, your depth. The beauty of God's plan is that it doesn't depend on you being perfect. You don't ruin it by making human choices. You don't disqualify yourself by taking longer than expected. God's plan isn't fragile. It's patient. It weaves even your missteps into something usable. That doesn't mean everything that happens is good, but it means nothing is wasted. A lot of the beauty is hidden while you're living through it. You don't feel it when you're tired, when you're waiting, when you're comparing your life to others and wondering why theirs seems to move faster. Beauty isn't obvious in survival mode. It shows up later, when you realize you became stronger, wiser, more grounded than you were before. Think of a potter shaping clay. From the clay's perspective, there's pressure, spinning, constant reshaping. It doesn't feel gentle, it doesn't feel beautiful. But the potter sees the whole form while the clay only feels the process. God holds that wider view of your life. Even when all you can feel is the pressure of becoming something you don't fully understand yet. You may wish God would explain himself more clearly, show you the next steps, confirm that you're on the right path. But often, clarity comes after trust, not before it. God's plan isn't revealed all at once because it's meant to be lived, not managed. If you knew every detail ahead of time, you might resist the very growth that's forming you now. The beauty of God's plan is also in its timing. Not early, not late, but aligned in ways you couldn't orchestrate. Some things needed to fall apart before others could come together. Some doors had to close because you were about to outgrow what was behind them. Some prayers weren't answered the way you hoped because the answer required a different version of you. When you look at your life and feel behind, remember that God doesn't rush what needs depth. He doesn't hurry what needs healing. What feels slow to you may actually be careful. What feels delayed may be protected. And what feels like a detour may be the only path that could have prepared you for what's ahead. The beauty of God's plan is that it's personal, not generic, not copied from someone else's story. Your journey doesn't need to look impressive to be meaningful. It needs to be honest. God works with the life you're actually living, not the one you think you should have by now. You won't always recognize the beauty while you're in it. Sometimes all you'll see is effort, confusion, and waiting. But one day, you'll look back and notice how things connected, how certain moments protected you, how others positioned you, how God was quietly present in seasons you thought He had forgotten. The beauty of God's plan isn't that it removes struggle. It's that it gives struggle a direction. And even when you can't see it yet, your life is moving somewhere meaningful.